Hi there, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to tell you 5 tips that I wish I had before I bought my first Pandeiro. Hopefully it will help you in your journey to get yours. If not your first Pandeiro, maybe this will also help further considerations. Point number 1, commonly used terms. So now I'm just going to quickly break down some commonly used terms that you see online or hear in conversation when finding Pandeiros. Some of them are in Portuguese, some of them are not. First word that you're going to need to get familiar with is plachinelas. Plachinelas is the Portuguese word for the jingles on a pandeiro. These next two are your two options, pele couro and pele nylon, which just mean natural head or nylon head. These next two are also related to one another and sort of opposites. You've got aro redondo and aro chato. Aro redondo is a rounded rim, whereas aro chato is a flat rim. Formica. Formica is a word that you'll see a lot come up, and that is just the name of the material that they use on the shell of the pandeiro. Formica is a kind of plastic. And the last term you're going to see a lot when buying for pandeiros is choro. Choro is a type of music from Brazil from the 19th century, which is kind of one of the precursors of samba. I was a little bit dumbfounded by seeing all these terms and some of them in Portuguese, not really sure what any of them meant, so hopefully that breakdown will just help you understand what it is that you might be buying. Point number 2 is to think about what it is you actually want to get out of it. This might seem a little bit obvious at first, but with any venture it's worth considering your aims and objectives before you get into it, and that can kind of influence which pandeiro you're going to buy. Whether you want to sound like Marcos Susano or Leo Rodrigues or Bernardo Aguiar with their Pandeiro Moderno natural headed style, or Carlos Café Visons with the nylon stuff. It kind of depends on what it is you want to get out of it. Also, the further you want to take your pandeiro playing, maybe the more money you should spend on a pandeiro. Worth considering. But at least knowing what kind of styles of music you want to play, what you like, will just help narrow your search a little bit more. Point number 3, skins. So the two types of skins and their functions are something I think is really important to talk about. Nylon headed pandeiros are much higher tuned and really cut through any kind of band that you're playing in with them. You can hear them in samba, coco and frevo, for instance, as different Brazilian styles. Interestingly also, the nylon headed pandeiros for a long time were used in the early days of carnival as kind of juggling pandeiros. So there was a category for judging the best pandeiro juggler in different samba schools in the very, very early days, which is part of the reason we have enormous sized pandeiros. Natural skins, on the other hand, you can get either cow or goat skin. You tend not to get the option that they're already pre-made unless you're going directly with a luthier. These pandeiros are used all over the place in samba, baxixe, choro, coco as well, capoeira, and it's really common for pagode groups, samba groups, to have maybe 2 pandeiro players, one using nylon, one using couro, or a pandeiro player that swaps between pele and couro in the middle of a song or different songs in the set. My preference so far has been couro because I like to play the Moderno style of Marcos Susano, where essentially the pandeiro through this technique has become a pocket drum kit. The only limitations are really your imagination when you use this style, but it only works on couro, it doesn't work on nylon skin pandeiros, although I'm looking to get a nice nylon pandeiro to learn that properly. The fourth thing to consider is the size and weight of the instrument. I've seen pandeiros ranging from 6 to 14 inches in diameter. For context, this tamborim is 6 inches, my chimbao is about 14, so that's the kind of span. The larger pandeiros like 14 were, as I mentioned, used for juggling. The average kind of size for pandeiros with a natural head is about 10 inches, and the nylon head average is about 12. Most manufacturers make an 8-inch of both nylon and natural, so if you've got smaller hands, the 8-inch is probably a good starting place. Or if you want something that's going to be much lighter for whichever pandeiro style you want. On average, pandeiros with nylon skin are much heavier than those with a natural skin. Average weight for a natural skin pandeiro is about 250 grams, or at least that's the sweet spot. Whereas the kind of average for a nylon head pandeiro is about 700 grams. So there's quite a big difference and there are lots of instruments that exist in between. But yeah, generally the lighter the instrument you can get your hands on, the better. The fifth and final thing is that the pandeiro is not an easy instrument. This might seem really obvious and apparent, but I think it's worth reminding everyone, and myself included, that to get really good at the pandeiro, it takes as much time and energy as it does to get good at something like guitar, piano, drum kit, tambourine, hepiki, whatever it is. Pandeiro is just one of those instruments that's often kind of like, oh, whatever, it's just a tambourine, which it is not. So considering, am I willing to put in the time to get to where I want to be with this instrument? Even if it's, I want to be able to play along to one samba at a barbecue with friends. That's a valuable goal, and it's worth putting some time in to do that. But what I'd say is, if you get a pandeiro and do regular practice, even 5 minutes every day whilst you're making coffee, then you're going to grow a lot quicker than if you buy one and let it dust and then think, oh yeah, I should pick up that pandeiro, you know? That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of this. There will be a playlist around here for, I think it's up here, for more pandeiro related lessons. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel regarding Brazilian percussion, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. Till next time.